Welcome back. This is kind of an experiment. I'd like to teach you some of the constellations, most of the Northern Hemisphere constellations this year, and I have about 10 lessons planned to do instead of the conceptual page that we'll do some astronomy. So I'm going to give you some of this and we'll see if it works this first time. I will always give you the Big Dipper. The Big Dipper is really easy to see in the sky. So I'll pull up a clean sheet just to show you if you can find it. Okay. Now the Big Dipper is sometimes upside down. It goes around. It's going up around and around and around in the sky. So in this, can you see it? Okay. It just looks like a bunch of dots. When you look up in the sky, there's no lines connecting anything. So you're just going to have to be able to see the pattern. But in this one, this is the Big Dipper here. Here it's its handle, and here is the ladle or the cup of the Big Dipper there. Okay, so depending on where it is in the sky, it's either going to be, right side up like this, or it's going to be, upside down like this. What's happening is that Polaris, which is the North Star, doesn't move in the sky, and everything that's around it is going to circumpolar. The pole star is a star. It happens to be this one. Let me show you where it is, and then I'll tell you how it works. If you were to take the front two stars of the Big Dipper and go straight out until you come to a rather bright star. Okay, it's not this brightest star in the sky, but it's a pretty bright star, and there's not a whole lot of bright stars around it. So it's pretty easy to spot. So here's the first two. These are pointer stars. They're pointing to the Big Dipper, and so I'm just going to keep going until I come to a bright star. There's the bright star. I'm going to circle this star. This is Polaris. Can you put it on your paper, please? Polaris. If you were to take an imaginary line straight out of the top of the North Pole, straight out into space, the star closest to that point, very, very close actually, is Polaris. Okay, so right now it may change, and several thousand years ago, it would have been a little bit of a different, because the Earth is spinning not like a motor, but more like a top. So it's spinning around and around, and it's wobbling as it's doing it. So as time passes, the star directly above the North Pole could change. But ever since ancient times, it's been Polaris, and we're pretty close, pretty good shape to keep it there for a while. Okay, so this is Polaris. This constellation here is called Ursa Major. Ursa in Latin is bear, major is big, so you have the big bear. And I've never really seen a bear. I see more like a possum. So let me show you what it is. Now you can configure it any way you want. I've seen this is the head and this is the back, and here's the front legs and back legs. I'm going to draw it like I learned it, and to me it kind of looks like a possum rather than a bear. Okay, so here's the tail of the bear, and here's the back of the bear. So he's got kind of like a saddle, and then you're just going to go forward. Okay, and I'll show you. Here's his nose or his front. Let me show you his back legs. If you come out of the back two of the Dipper to here, that's his first, and then it's going to bend around, and you're going to see a double star for his toe. So here's his knee, and then it's going to come here, and that's kind of like his back leg. So here's his tail, his back leg, and here's his body. Okay, so then it comes towards the front, and you're going to see the same. You're going to see a front leg with a double star. This is pretty easy to see because there isn't anything like it. There's a double star in the back and a double star in the front. So this comes out, so you can do it here or like here. You can make a bend there, and then there's a double. That's his front leg, and I suppose that's his nose. So to me it looks more like a frying pan or a frog. Can you see a frog there? Or a possum? Okay, but the Greeks saw it as a bear, and this is Ursa Major. So if you will, Ursa Major. All 7 of these stars in the Big Dipper, there's 7 here in the Dipper, all have names. All of the names are in Arabic. They're Arabic forms of very, very old words, which are actually Babylonian words. So we're talking about these stars have been named for the last 5,000 years. Very, very early. All of these star constellations are ancient. The Greeks kind of configured them, and ever since Greek times, people have kind of just took the Greek names for them. Even though it's in Latin, this is a Greek constellation that's older than even Greece is, of course. Okay, so if this is Ursa Major, the big bear, Polaris is the tail of the little bear. Okay, so we're going to go back towards the handle. So the little bear is very small, it's right here, and it's heading back towards the bend in the handle. So what I want is there's very, very dim stars. In fact, normally on a night here, you may only see a couple of stars in the Little Dipper. You'll be able to see the North Star pretty plainly. You'll probably be able to see this star, and it's a Little Dipper. So in fact, there's not even a star here on this page because it's such a dim star. There's a star right there, actually very, very dim. So here is 1, here is 2, here is 3, here is 4, here is 5. That's what you see on your sheet. There happens to be a tiny, very dim star right here that's even dimmer than the stars I wrote on this paper. If you want to leave it like that, you can. If you want to use your imagination and put like a Little Dipper there, that's the Little Dipper. So the Little Dipper is pouring its milk into the Big Dipper right now, and then later I told you that Polaris never moves. So let's imagine that this is Polaris. See if I can do this without making, see, all the stars are going to circle the North Star. So the Little Dipper right now is dumping its milk into the Big Dipper. Then later, as it's upside down, the Big Dipper will dump its milk into the Little Dipper, and it just goes around and around in a circle. These are called circumpolar stars because they go around the pole star. Okay, circum means like circumference, so going around, and this is the pole, and so it's going to, these just chase each other around. The American Indians also saw this as a bear, and this was a campfire. And so the bear is constantly going around the campfire. It's pretty cool. Okay, so we have 2 so far. We have Ursa Major and Ursa Minor. And then this is Polaris. Polaris is a named star that you should know. These stars also are named stars, but I'll leave it for this time. Okay, so the next one I want you to know is Cassiopeia. Cassiopeia is a queen. Okay, and she's got an awesome story I'll tell you later when we do a star lab. But to find it, you need to go back to the pointer stars. Remember, these first 2 in the cup are the pointers, and you're going to go through the North Star until you get to the number 3. And it's pretty big. It's a big wide 3, or a W, or an M, depending on what's the configuration in the sky. But if you head from the pointer stars through the Big Dipper, now this is arced in the sky, you're going to come to the number 3, and I see it here. This is Cassiopeia. All right, so I see her here. Let me show you how I see her. Here's her head. In fact, this star is also in Cassiopeia. This could actually be the head, and this is the neck. And here's her body. She's sitting on a throne, so there's her lap. Here's her foot. Okay, this would be her head, and then this is her scepter. But a lot of people would just draw it like a big M or a big 3 or a big W. Okay, so if you want to put the head there, it is, and then that's her scepter, and she's sitting on a throne. Okay, I guess I should erase the scepter since there's no stars there. Okay, but that's the idea. All right, so this is Cassiopeia. Cassiopeia is spelled in Greek, of course, since it's she was actually the queen of Ethiopia, but it's a Greek story. It's one of the Greek myths. So Cassiopea, Cassiopeia. And I'll tell you the story. I love the story. Okay. In between Cassiopeia and the Little Dipper is the king. So you have the queen, and then you have the king. The king is a house. It's an upside down house. The closest star here is not in it. Okay, so if you go from the foot, this star is actually not in it. It's the other one. So you're going to look up from Polaris. So if you go from Polaris up to her scepter, you will pass directly through the bottom of the house. So here's Polaris, here's the scepter, this is the bottom of Cepheus. So here's the house is upside down, or it's like kind of an ice cream cone, whatever. So you're looking up from here in this direction. So he's standing and she's sitting, and I see it as a house. So this is here, this is here, this is here, this is here if you want to make a cross piece, and there's the house. I believe these two stars are also part of that constellation. I don't know if that's part of his arms. I've always seen him, this is his head and his hands are up here and he's standing and she's sitting. He's much bigger than she is, I guess. Okay, so he is the king, and this is Cepheus. Cepheus the king, Cassiopeia the queen, and then we've already learned the little bear and the big bear. Okay, no name stars here for now. Okay, one more that I'd like to do, and that's the dragon. And the dragon, I love, most people, it's one of their very favorites. You're going to go back to the Big Dipper, and the pointer star is pointing at Polaris, but before Polaris there's going to be the tail of the dragon. So if you come straight out of the pointer stars of the cup, you're going to come to the end of the dragon. That's the end of the dragon, and the dragon is going to wind around the Little Dipper. Okay, or at least one of his, he's a big dragon, so he's going to go around the Big Dipper. So I'm just going to connect the dots around. Okay, there's a double star. I think that's one of his wings, I believe. He's going to go here. Okay, then here. Then here. So he goes all the way around the Little Dipper. I believe here. Here. So now he's turned a corner, and now this is his head. There's a little triangle. So the base of the triangle is his neck. And then here is his triangle. Okay, that's Draco. Draco is the dragon. And all of these stars are constellations as well. We'll look at them little by little by little. I would love you to do some of these. If you were to do a sheet for me, I would absolutely give you table bucks for this, because otherwise, if you don't practice this, you'll absolutely not know it. You'll do it once and it will not stick. So see me and I can pay you well with this, I promise. Okay, thank you.